Bold Goal Crushers. Welcome back to another episode of the Bold Goal Crusher podcast, where we smash through obstacles and make big things happen without all the burnout. Today's episode is a big one because I have some major life updates to share. I'm talking about my decision to step back into a nonprofit role that truly aligns with my childhood passion and my big move back to Kentucky. And so that's what's in store for this podcast episode. This shift really is all about walking the talk and pursuing bold goals that align with who we are at the core. And because sometimes those big, audacious goals that seem like dreams are actually the ones we were meant to chase. I'm a big believer in divine intervention. And so I'm going to share some exciting news about the future, not only of my career and also of this podcast. I'm also going to talk a little bit about a special podcast series that is coming out shortly. All right, let's get started. So, if you've been following me for a while, I have a deep background in nonprofit leadership. I have business strategy and even event planning experience. I've had a wealth of experience. But before all of that, before I became a consultant, a podcast host, and a nonprofit expert, I was a horse girl. And I know I've done a couple episodes about bold goals and setting those goals as a child to compete at the World Championship Horse Show. I grew up riding and immersing myself in the equestrian world outside of Chicago. And I even pursued an equine science degree in college, and I worked in the industry. I trained horses in Kentucky. But life took me in different directions. And while I loved every step of my journey in these other things, divine intervention happened. So recently, my horse trainer's wife, Fran, passed away from cancer, and I was brought back to Kentucky for her memorial service. And I'm really sorry for my trainer's loss. And during that visit, an opportunity, a little seed was planted that made me really stop in my tracks. I love nonprofit work, working with my clients and all this stuff. But I also really enjoy working in a big nonprofit environment and making change and moving towards a mission. And so a lot of my work on the nonprofit side with my clients has been about helping people do that. And many times people have offered me positions, but I truly wasn't passionate about their nonprofit like I should be to actually work there. However, when I was back in Kentucky, a position that is equine focused, nonprofit, that aligns with my experience and passion happened to be open. And I did a lot of research and I decided to throw my name into the hat. And turns out I was the perfect choice according to them. So I'll be stepping into the role of an executive director position for an association called the American Saddlebred Horse Association. And that really is the perfect blend of my nonprofit experience and bringing my passion full circle of horses that I've loved since childhood. And I've ridden throughout the years. Some people were like, oh, you haven't ridden in a while, but I have ridden over the years. And this move really isn't just about taking a job. It's really about boldly and fully aligning with the things that truly light me up. I think it's really important that when I talk about bold goals, I love talking about them, that they're big, ambitious, and sometimes even a little scary. And in goal setting, you can plan things, but life changes and things change, and your goals have to be flexible. And so that's why I think it's so important when you're doing goal setting that you're not so rigid with what your bold goals are. I talk about when we set these bold goals and we have these great ideas, when we get really big and bold and dreamy, when people try and put it into this format of SMART goals, it sucks the life out of some of those goals. This is really about practicing what I preach. A bold goal just isn't about career goals or financial success. It's about creating that life that is meaningful and fulfilling, and making decisions and taking action to get there and make it work. Let this be a reminder, bold goals don't always make sense to other people, and they might require that leap of faith. They also might take you in a completely different path than you originally planned, but they're still aligned to your big, bold, dreamy goal. And if it feels right and it aligns with your heart and purpose, you owe yourself to go for it. All right, so enough about my move. I'm super excited. For those of you who know, Parker's coming. She's very excited. She's getting a little nervous as I pack my place up, but she loves a good road trip, so I know she'll be down for that. So you may be wondering, what's up? What's next for the podcast? So I'm going to tell you. I'm going to do a special takeover because I'm going to be a little busy for the next couple of weeks getting all settled in. So the next step for the Bold Goal Crusher podcast, while I'm making this move, is not hitting pause on this podcast. In fact, I'm shaking things up a little bit. I think you'll love it. So for the next couple of episodes, I'm handing the mic to some incredible guest hosts, leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal crushers who will be bringing fresh perspectives and inspiring conversations to this space. You can expect to hear from some great people. First up is one of my favorites, Katie Soika. She's a brand photographer. I think you're going to love her. And then we have Jeannie Hawk. She's going to talk about the power of joy. I have a great lineup for you. You're just going to love them. And these are people who truly live and breathe the bold goal crusher mindset. I can't wait for you to hear their insights, strategies, and stories. And I'll be popping on with updates from Kentucky and sharing my journey, of course. But I know this takeover is going to bring a lot of value to you, and that's really what's important. Now, you may be asking, what's up with my business? I am still going to, and my team will still serve nonprofits, but it will be at a little different scope and businesses as well. So please know that you're still going to get all the great, juicy resources and content. It just may be a little less forward facing on my part as I jump into this journey. Okay, final thoughts. First off, I want to ask you, and I want to leave you with this question today. Is there a bold goal or a calling or a passion that maybe you've been pushing aside or you haven't kept at the forefront of your mind? Maybe it's something from childhood like mine, or maybe it's something you've convinced yourself isn't realistic. Like you have this big dreamy goal and you know that somebody's going to tell you that's not realistic. This is truly your sign to go after it, to keep it at the forefront of your mind, to take a step, to get curious. And because sometimes these big, bold, scary moves, they're exactly what we need to do. But if you don't, it's like a vision board. If you set the vision board the correct way, where you go find what you're looking for in the magazines instead of finding cute things in the magazine and put it on your board, keeping that visual will keep that top of your mind. So when opportunities like this might come around, you're thinking in that mindset. All right. I'm very excited about this. I know great things are going to be in store for you. That's all for today's episode, Bold Goal Crushers. If this resonated with you, please send me a message. I'd love to hear what bold goals you're thinking about chasing. If you're watching on YouTube, you can comment there. If you're not watching on YouTube, get on YouTube and subscribe so you can see me in my wonderful office, which will be changing soon. And don't forget, the podcast takeover starts soon. So be sure to tune in for some incredible conversations. Hint, hint, if you're thinking you want to be on a podcast or host a podcast, you should apply to take it over. I would love to give you the mic to see if this might be maybe one of your bold goals in your calling. So as always, please keep crushing those goals without the overwhelm. I will see you soon.